Disclaimer: I'm not here to hate on any specific creator, nor am I here to tell you how to live your life. If you're an adult and you decide to take steroids, that is completely your entire personal choice. My goal here is simply to raise awareness about what's actually happening behind the scenes, because thousands of teenagers are making permanent medical decisions without knowing the true cause. Anabolic steroid abuse among teenagers isn't an open secret anymore. It's a content category. In 2026, you've got 15-year-olds running laboratory-grade gear, walking around with massive proportions and wrapping 500 pounds like it's a warm-up set. Even worse, they turn around and mock anyone who hasn't hopped on a cycle that essentially conditions your body to sabotage your heart, organ health, and fertility before you're even old enough to vote. All for 15 seconds of clout on a phone screen. To understand how we got here, we have to look at where it all started. Back in 1958, Dr. John Zilger developed the Anabol for the US Olympic weightlifting team to level the playing field against the Soviets. When gear trickled into bodybuilding during the golden era of the 1970s, it was treated as a tool, not the entire foundation. Lifters built a massive natural base over 5 to 10 consecutive years of training before even touching a compound. In the era of Arnold and Frank Zane, the goal was art, symmetry, and proportion. Gear was used in tiny doses to polish the final product, not to bypass hard work. Enter Lee Priest, one of the few IFBB pros who have always been brutally honest about enhancement. Lee won Mr. Australia completely natural before ever touching a cycle at age 19. If you watch his podcast today, he repeatedly calls out modern gym culture for putting the cart before the horse.
That's why I never had the urge to go a gram or go this type thing. So, and I think most people probably don't. Because you look at I spoke to one young kid, like I just got on my first cycle. I'm doing like training, was doing like almost 500 or something. And then some other test is on a gram. And this, I'm like, is this your first cycle? I'm just like, where'd you get this from? Oh, of course, my coach. I'm like, oh, fuck it. This is your coach. I said, is he selling you the shit too to make money? It's like, well, if they start a cycle that big, they think the next one's got to be just as big or increase it. Whereas you start small and you see you make the gains on a small amount, you don't need to go fucking crazy.
His message is simple. Taking 1,000 milligrams of gear before you even know how to eat, sleep, or squat with proper form doesn't make you a bodybuilder. It just makes you an impatient kid who is burning out the receptor sites for nothing. While old school pros preach patience, the modern internet runs on an entirely different business model. Hyper-monetized brain rot. Influencers like Toji turn chaotic high-energy streams about blasting absurd stacks into a massive clout machine, while guys like Eric English set an unnaturally dense, unfortunately freakish physical benchmark that floods millions of feeds. By normalizing heavy gear talk to impressionable audiences, enhancement ceased to be a quiet medical risk. It became entertainment, hypermonetized content, and a blueprint for a generation chasing fast clout. The short-form algorithm doesn't care about health, consistency, or longevity. It rewards instant gratification. A young lifter posting a legitimate, hard-earned 3-year natural transformation gets buried under 500 or 1,000 views, while a 16-year-old who gains 30 pounds of lean tissue in 4 months by blasting any steroids in particular gets pushed to millions of FYP feeds overnight. The algorithm systematically trains young guys to believe that natural progress is too slow or even pointless because normal biology cannot simply compete with enhanced drugs. This triggered the most dangerous cultural shift in fitness history.
Fully informed of all the side effects that steroids could do to your teenage body.
Yes, and I still said f it.
The biggest one was acne, of course.
I look like a f***ing gorilla, and I'm losing hair.
I was basically like a female on her period. My estrogen was like 150. Yeah, that was bad. I had mood swings like this. I'd be sitting there, I'd start crying out of nowhere. I also had milk come out of my
In the 1980s and 90s, anabolic abuse was isolated to the top 0.1% of elite strength athletes and pro bodybuilders, guys in their late 20s or 30s making a calculated career sacrifice. Today, that boundary has completely dissolved. Gear usage moved out of the Olympia prep room and straight into middle school basements and high school locker rooms. Kids who don't even have a sport to play are hopping on cycles just to walk down their school hallway. So how did teens get such an easy access? Enter the SARM underground. Selective androgen receptor modulators were rebranded as safe legal alternatives to traditional steroids, sold online under the legal loophole of not for human consumption. Shady research chemical vendors started sponsoring teenage fitness influencers, giving them discount codes to push unstudied chemicals to their underage audiences. Millions of young guys began taking research compounds like Rad 140 or MK677 without having the slightest clue of how they work on the human body. Here's the price that every single one of these kids eventually have to pay. Blasting suppressive compounds before your endocrine system fully develops can permanently shut down your natural HPTA axis, the system controlling your natural hormone production. We are seeing the consequences play out in real time. Look at Toji, for example, publicly battling complete infertility and desperately running protocols to reboot his system. The constant health speculation surrounding Eric English or Sam Sulek, noticeably wheezing and struggling for breath during basic cardio sessions from carrying sheer enhanced mass. Beyond fertility, your cardiovascular system takes the brunt of the damage. Premature arterial thickening destroyed HDL good cholesterol and left ventricular hypertrophy, meaning your heart muscle thickens and struggles to pump blood effectively. So why take the risk? Because fitness merged with looks maxing culture, body dysmorphia has been weaponized into a lifestyle. Young men and women are convinced by internet subcultures that having a 225-pound bench or an athletic natural frame is quote mid, and that 18-inch arms are the bare minimum entry fee just for to be respected. They aren't training for health, strength, or athletic performance anymore. They are essentially quote roid maxing out of an intense fear of being invisible. It is high time to bring back the natural standard. Old school lifting was built on longevity, mental toughness, and earning your physique over years of disciplined work. Trading your long-term health, natural hormones, and longevity just to get temporary like from strangers on TikTok is the worst trade you'll ever make in your life. Build a real, natural foundation first. Eat right, sleep right, and train hard. Maybe from 1 to even 3 years, you may even get the dream body you always wanted. And that body, I assure you, will serve you for the next 50 years instead of the one that burns out in 5. If you made it this far, hit subscribe, drop a comment with your thoughts on the modern gym scene, and get back in the gym.